If you like to gamble, I tell you I'm your man. You win some, lose some. It's all the same to me. Oh, hello there. And I dropped my cap. This is brought to you by Motorhead's Ace of Spades Whiskey. And of course, I'm going to pair it with a classic Coke. Why? Because only the finest. But enough about my terrible singing and renditions of classic songs from the past. I have something completely unrelated to classic songs from the past to talk about. That being games you can play instead of 5th edition. This is a great opportunity. Great opportunity, because one of the most frustrating aspects of 5th edition was players who did not want to expand their horizons, who didn't want to think of other things, explore other worlds, look at different math. Other games. So, 5e is not so popular no more, right? You know, that's just the way it is now. Right? What if I told you there's a fantasy game that stars David fucking Bowie? Labyrinth, the role-playing game, says everything you need to play in the box. It even has a little holder. I'm going to try to show it here as best I can. Right here. I dropped the thing out of it anyway. That holds the dice. It is a 2d6 system. Fairly simple. Fairly robust. Done by Ben of Questing Beast. For a while, this was a little tricky to get a hold of, but I believe they've since put it out to the masses a little bit more. It's a licensed game. It's fantasy. It's all in one book. It's a setting most people are at least somewhat familiar with. And if you want to get a primer on the world, it's a fairly easy way to do it. You just watch the damn movie. Bam! Easy. And there are rules here for play. Easy to learn rules, 200-page adventure, all kinds of stuff. Play around with it. It's real fun. I think it's only like $40. So, you know, if you bought D&D off Amazon, this is only a little bit more, but this doesn't need a monster book. It already has stats. All right. Next up, this is a favorite, so I'm going to try not to sound too biased. Imagine D&D, but prog rock as fuck. You know, space wizard van shit. Rush with all the weed you need. Dungeon Crawl Classics. Don't be intimidated by the size of this book, right? A meaty little tome. The core rules for this are, I don't know, probably closer to 32 to 40 pages, give or take. Most of this is spells. Because spells in this game are fucking gonzo as shit, man. They are fucking crazy. If you like Dungeons and Dragons, this is very close to Dungeons and Dragons. I believe this is technically an OGL game. I'm not 100% sure. There's some charts, some Kickstarter thing. Seeing if there is an OGL thing in here real quick. Doesn't look like it. Maybe not. Maybe it isn't. This game has a shit ton of third and first party support, right? So you want there's at least 30 adventures that you can get. This also comes with adventures in the box. in the book. It's kind of like a box. There are 2 adventures in the book. There is monsters in here. There is your spells, weapons, classes, all that right there. So this is another game where you can just buy the book, and for the most part, you're good to go. The only downside, you need some weird dice. Find them on Amazon, or Goodman sells them. I would probably do the Amazon one if you're a little intimidated, because you can buy like the soft cover of this for fairly cheap. I think the soft cover is like under 30, and then you get some Kapow dice, get like the How Odd dice, so you get a D30, a D24, a D18, a D7, you know, that kind of shit. And you are good to go. And you can, arguably, you can work around the weird dice if you don't want weird dice. But who doesn't want weird dice? We all collect the click-clack math rocks, so fucking get this game! Get it! Go buy it! It's a good game. Third-party support, first-party support. There's tons of shit. Zines, all kind of good shit. And it's fairly compatible with OSR products. So if you've got shit for like your Swords and Wizardry or, you know, even Castles and Crusades, the shit works. Okay. Calm down. Settle. The psychedelics are wearing off. RuneQuest. This one's a little different than all the others. This runs on mostly a D percentile system. I don't think this version is currently available in print, but the game hasn't changed drastically. You could also replace RuneQuest with Pendragon. Both of them are fantasy. Both of them are skill-based, like Call of Cthulhu. If you're familiar with Call of Cthulhu, this is like that, except for with the less emphasis on the sanity loss. This is Bronze Age fantasy, if I remember correctly. It's been a minute. Bronze Age fantasy, it's skill-based system, so you don't have to worry about classes. You can do all kinds of different things. Characters can be really unique and really built up in a way that you want, rather than trying to fit a class archetype to what you want. You got, you know, you can kind of do things exactly how you want. I don't know why I keep looking at it. Yeah, I do. Because I love this cover. This is the classic edition. I believe this is based off of the original first edition that they reprinted. Absolutely love it. Alright, we're going to go back to Normiesville. Let's say you really like 5th edition. You really like it. And you are a stand for it. Did you know 5e borrowed... They borrowed some mechanics from other games. This game came out in... must have been 2004, 2005, somewhere around there. They even tried to emulate a little bit, and they made their own little white box edition way back in the day. I've got a few of their modules right over there, a few of their source books right over there. I got a first printing hardcover over there. I even got little special editions. I don't have their newest printing, because, you know, Castles and Crusades. This is not showing up very well. Let's see if... Turn a light on. That works a little better. Castles and Crusades. This is the player's handbook. This works like D&D. You're going to want a player's handbook. You're going to want a monster manual. There is a Castle Keeper's Guide. You don't really need it, but it's good to have. You don't need it. I get it. But this plays a lot like 5e, with the big difference being it doesn't have advantage, but you can import it in. Like any of these games, you can hack the hell out of them, play them however you like. It is your game, you play how you like. But attribute skill checks and attribute saving throws were in this about a decade before 5e came out. So I think there's like 11 different classes. There's a lot of different classes in here. It's been a minute since I played. My last campaign with this was about 4 years ago. The monster book for this is really good. Even if you don't play this, like if you decide to go for something like DCC or Basic Fantasy or Swords and Wizardry or OSE or any of that shit, the Castles and Crusades monster book is a really good get on its own. Beyond that, it's very traditionalist. You're not going to have a whole lot of weirdness in here. Like, you're not going to have tieflings. You're not going to have dragonborn in here. But, you know, you want to go on an adventure? Go on an adventure. Hack some shit up for it. There is a license available out there for putting out content, but it's not utilized quite as well as 5e. Alright. Last. I saved one of the best for last, my friends. One of the best, I tell you. 1 second. Let's simmer on that one more minute. That's a good Motorhead whiskey. There we go. That's some good shit, I tell you. Alright. Now, this is one of my favorite games. Probably one of my favorite games that isn't Dungeon Crawl Classics or Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay or Rules Cyclopedia. This is my 4th place. Like, if I had to do like a top 5 role-playing games I would play of all time, this is my number 4. Easily. In this tiny little thin booklet. Morkborg, or I believe it's Merkborg. Merkborg? I don't know. I'm not Swedish. I'm not going to attempt to be Swedish. This game is very Swedish. To quote a Mr. Welch and his mad musings. D20 system. There's only 4 attribute skills. A character can be drafted up in moments. This game's brutal. This game is unforgiving. This game is artsy as all fucking hell. It is satanic. If you have worries about satanic imagery, don't buy this book. I mean, there's a fucking upside down cross done in fucking fluorescent paint on here. If you shine it in a light, you turn the light out, it pops up. There's an upside down cross on our skeleton head, who immediately in the next page is dead. This game is just it's one of these games where it kind of has the rules and the setting put together. There's a world that has long since been doomed, and it gets worse every day. The world can end mid-campaign with this. If you play this straight, you play this using the rules in this book, just the rules in this book, you can you can all die from just the world ending. It's very hard to do it unless you push your narrative closer and closer to the apocalypse. But yeah, everyone can just die in the middle of a campaign. I do think this game lends itself to campaign play better than some would say. The game is very brutal, but if you go into it knowing that it's going to be brutal and you're not afraid to draft up a new character, if you make a stupid decision, you're pretty good. Monsters are lethal. Spell hazards are lethal. The game is filled with all these crazy fun charts. But it's a doom world. The apocalypse is coming. Just in this book, there's 6 classes. However, this game also is starting to get a lot more support. Exalted Funeral has put out some stuff. as well as Stockholm Cartel and Free League. They've put out two collected zines, Feretory and Heretic. Those add an additional, I want to say like 5 or 6 more classes. It's been a minute. I love this game. My biggest problem with this game is that I gotta find people who also love this game. So more people give this game a shot so you can fucking love it, man. Like this is some dark doom metal shit. Also, how many role-playing games? I wasn't even planning on pulling this out. I'm gonna pull it out just for you. Yeah, you, Kyle. How many games have a vinyl record as an adventure? This is an official third-party Mörk Borg adventure, and it's got the map in the gatefold, events in the gatefold. There's a booklet in here that has the adventure itself, and then this is an actual record. I'm trying to be gentle here. An actual record. But let's say, even then, if you don't like that, the record itself, its jacket, has a class and the map to the scenario that players can use. Too much whiskey. There we go. This game is very metal. It gets a lot of influence from blackened forms of metal, so like Blackened Death, Blackened Doom, Death Doom even. It's not as bright as say Dungeon Crawl Classics, which is also a fairly lethal game. But I absolutely love Mörk Borg. Or Mörk Borg. Or whatever you want to call it. You can call it Sally. I don't give a shit. So there's a handful of games. I guess to recap, if you really like 5e and you don't want to play 5e, here's where 5e borrowed about a third of its mechanics. If you really, really, really want to make an adventure about David Bowie's codpiece, play Labyrinth. If you want to try a whole new system that is well-tested, well-refined, and been around for quite literally almost as long as Dungeons & Dragons, RuneQuest, or really anything that Chaosium's put out. I'm a little pissed because I would have suggested something like the Elric role-playing game, but that's no longer in print, and getting copies ain't fucking cheap, my friend. Oh, God. And if you love Rush, DCC. Again, don't be intimidated by the book. Some of the best stuff in here is like the magic sword rules. I really gotta gush on this game real quick. The magic sword rules, you can make you can make about 100 different swords just rolling on shit. You know, it's supposed to be a spell, but like if you want to throw a magic sword into your campaign, just roll on it as a DM. You know, you'll find a sword that's like the bane to goblins, and it is lawful and it talks to you and all this shit. Like you just roll on it randomly and you'll get all kinds of cool shit. The dragon chart here is also really good. Third party support's really good. There's a lot of zines. There's a lot of stuff coming out from like Planet X Games. There's Damn. It's a magazine. Damn. I think it's like the Dungeon Crawl Classics magazine. There's the Gong Farmer's Almanac, which is third party. There's so much stuff for this. So if you really want a game if you really want a game with a ton of support, like that's what you need in your what you needed out of your 5th edition, this is my first go-to. Like not even maybe. Like just play. Just fucking play it. If I'm gonna be brutally honest, I need people to play. So fucking play this shit. Spread it around, make these things even cooler, and get on it. Okay? Now, to bid you adieu, a good night to you.